Well, hello guys and welcome back to the channel, and today, as always, I bring you the review of this week's chapter of the 7 Deadly Sins, 176, of its name, A Darkness Told. A Darkness Told, actually. Sorry. Last chapter, we were told that the name of this chapter would be A Darkness, or Darkness Appears, or Darkness Descends. But it appears that the title was either changed or it was incorrectly translated in the last chapter. Contrary to normal, I'll begin this video with speaking about the cover of this week's chapter, which sees all the 7 members of the Sins together, happy like they were in past times. The only one we do not see personally is Gotha, who's hiding in his armor. But we see all the rest of them: Gotha, King, Meliodas, Ban, Merlin, Diane and Gotha, all having fun, drinking and playing cards. It's really a good... I really enjoy this cover, and I really hope that someday we will be able to see the 7 Sins together again. Now, if you've seen my fairy tale video, in the very end, I've said that I was a little bit more happy with this week's chapter, and truly I am. Even though the chapter began in the same way, with Meliodas getting kicked, the fact that what happened afterwards was more than enough to really make me enjoy this chapter a lot. It begins with the restoration of the Shin member, the Commandments member who resurrected Elaine. I forgot her name, but I'm sure I will be reminded somewhere along this video. But an interesting fact, Glockshini won't be able to use the drop of life technique for a while after that, which will come in handy for what happens in this chapter. But it is interesting to know that there is a limit to how much this technique can be used, which is actually pretty cool, because in the latest chapters we've seen this technique being used at least, if I'm not mistaken, at least 4 or 5 times in a short space of time, because it hasn't been that long of a time ever since the tournament ended until now. So I would say in the space of about an hour, this technique was used for about 4 or 5 times, which already sounds overpowered as it is, but now that Glockshini himself claims that there is a limit, makes it all more balanced. So he can use it for repeated times together, but after a number of times he stops being able to use it. For how long, we don't know, and I don't believe it will be told anytime soon. But so it keeps on going. All the commandments are gathered on Meliodas, and then Estarossa says something. Well, not Estarossa, but someone says something that regards the Sins. And when they call them Meliodas' new commanders, Estarossa says something really, really important. When were you planning on betraying these comrades? And then we find out that Meliodas was the leader of the 10 Commandments. It was expected, at least I expected it, but I still received the news with a bit of shock and surprise. Even though it was somewhat expected, all the remaining Sins present are shocked as well. Even Ban is like, how could it be? And then we see this very cool image of the former 10 Commandments. We see Estarossa, we see the lady that resurrects other people, we see the guy, we see Monspierre, I believe. I don't know who's the one in the corner, if he even is someone we know. We see Gollum, we see someone who looks like a giant, he's a big guy for sure. We see the lady who's always with Monspierre, and most importantly, we see, besides Meliodas, we see Gotha, or at least the commandment that was Gotha. And Estarossa goes as far as to say Meliodas was favored to become the king of the demons. And then when he was in charge, not even the goddess clan could do anything about the demons. So if we think that he's powerful now, imagine a few years back, let's say a few years, like it is almost was it 300 years ago? I don't know. But then we see some flashbacks of Estarossa when they were fighting, I believe, against the goddess clan, and we see Meliodas with a huge sword, I believe, just slashing through the goddess or the god like it was butter. And Estarossa says he yearned to be like them, and I believe that this chapter sort of confirms that Estarossa is Meliodas' younger brother, even though he outgrew him for a tiny wee bit. But then again, those who come after tend to be a little bit bigger than the ones. Then the younger ones tend to be a little bit bigger than the older ones. So I don't know. I'm a single child, so I don't have any brothers or sisters for that matter. So I don't know. But you guys tell me if you have any younger brothers. Are they taller than you? Well, if they are about the same age as you, then probably they are. I don't know. Forget that. And then we find out as well that Meliodas slaughtered 2 members of the commandments, and he himself defected, probably alongside with Gother, so which left the commandments short 4 members. Well, that's the thing. Estarossa says that he slaughtered 2 members, so, and then they got Dolor and Gloxinia. But that's the point, until recently. Does he mean until recently now, as it means they only joined like 2 years before they invaded, they were able to be unsealed? Because were they sentient when they were sealed? Were they like down in hell and just looking up and thinking, oh God, I yearn for the day when we will be able to go upstairs again. Something like that. I believe it is. They were confined to their own dimension, place, whatever you want to call it, and not be able to come out. But it is interesting to know that Dolor and Gloxinia were only recently made members of the commandments. Maybe they were lower demons before, maybe they were dead and their souls were captured by the demons. But it was Meliodas' betrayal that led to the war 3,000 years ago. The war we've been hearing ever since the beginning, the war between the races of men, goddess, giants, fairies against the demon race. Meliodas was the man that started that war. He was the one that tipped the scales against the demons and in favor of all other races. And so, as the others receive the news with quite a shock, Estarossa keeps on giving. When do you plan on betraying them? But Meliodas starts saying something. He says the syllables za and zu. I don't know if this means something. I don't remember if there's a character with these syllables in it. But Meliodas' speech is cut short because the lady that resurrects people wants to be the one to kill Meliodas. And they all yearn for Ban, for he knows firsthand what this woman can do. And then we just see Ban holding on to Elaine, and just like that. And then Elaine says, there's no need to ask for my forgiveness. And we're like, what? But then, if you remember, and if you see Ban's eyes, you realize what he's about to do. And he turns to Gilfrost, and he's obviously teleported to there. And as she's trying to pull the soul out of Meliodas, even though Meliodas is resisting, she's able to pull his soul out. And my God, what a big soul this is. It's like a massive ball of energy, my God. But all of a sudden, the images go black. And this was very interesting to watch. And as the narrator says, as of that moment, none of the commandments noticed an intruder amongst them. And now we start to see the conversation between Ban and Elaine. And he says that if he does that, he will end up losing her again. But he once again swears that one day he will bring her back to life. And she accepts it, and she tells him to go save his friend. And that's when she says there's no need to ask for her forgiveness. And we find out about it. One more of Ban's abilities. I don't believe he's used this before. Zero sign, which apparently suppresses his presence to all of those nearby. And this is a very cool and powerful ability, because if it can be used against the commandments, it is no joke. If not even the commandments are able to see him until he reveals himself, then this ability is nothing to be joked at. And all of a sudden, the lady's face is already enveloped by Ban's hands, and crack, her neck. He turns her head completely upside down. And he uses Foxhunt to take something out from her. And they look like little brains, leeches, I don't know. They are gross, I know that, they are gross. But I believe this to be a demon's life core. I believe that this is what keeps a demon alive. I don't know if it is some kind of heart, some kind of depository for souls, I don't know, but apparently by snatching this, Ban was able to kill her. And the chapter ends with the reunion of two best friends, and things are on the right track again. Now, the question is, and I really hope that this doesn't follow the same track again, because what will Ban be able to do? Yes, he used zero zone, not zero zone, but he used this technique to actually be able to infiltrate among the commandments, but I don't think that such a technique would work again. Zero sign, that's the name. I do not believe that such a technique would work a second time, because now they are more prepared for it. Even if they don't know of the technique, they are more prepared for it. That's the same thing as it happened with Meliodas before. He was able to caught the commandments by surprise. I don't believe that Ban, and even if he could, I believe it wouldn't be safe. It wouldn't be cool to use the same move again. Otherwise, he could have just keep it up and one after the other defeat the commandments one by one, which I don't think he's able to do. So now the problem is, will anyone else join the battlefield? Will Ban's steadiness to go to the front lines be a marker for all the others to go to the front line and actually protect their captain? If so, if not, in fact, not if so, if not, then what will Ban be able to do? Will he able to hold his ground against the commandments when his captain wasn't? Will Meliodas, by some weird twist of fate, be able to recover? Will perhaps, as I said, that's what I was expecting of the last chapter, that Elizabeth goes there and uses her magic on Meliodas to have him recovered, and then Ban and Meliodas can do one of their tag team sessions and whoop the floor with the commandments. There's a lot of possibilities here. I kind of gave up on trying to predict the follow-ups to the 7 Deadly Sins chapters, because they have been quite erratic and really not giving much room for prediction. I would never predict that this chapter would end like this. I would never predict that Ban would appear and do what he did. But thank God he did. Thank God he appeared when he appeared, because I can't see anyone else among all the characters that are present now in the action that would be able to do what Ban did. If nothing else, because no one else would be able to use the same ability as him. So, I hope you have enjoyed this video. I hope you have enjoyed the chapter above all else. I know I did. And I believe that now the 7 deadly sins are going in the right track to kind of recover from that step that they've fallen into. A minor step back. I admit I didn't enjoy at all the last 2 chapters. The last 2 chapters were completely unnecessary to me. What those 2 chapters had could have been done in 1. And then this chapter could have been last week's chapter, and this week we could have a different chapter. I said this in the last or penultimate video, I don't know. I believe it was in the double chapter video that I said this. But anyway, I believe that now the 7 deadly sins is right on the good track, and we are starting now to enter in the final stages of the versus the 10 commandments arc. I hope, at least. It's my belief. If you guys have any other opinions, please do share them with me in the comment section down below. As I always say, and as I haven't said in a long time, the comment section down below is yours to use and abuse. I hope you guys have enjoyed it once again, and I'll see you this Tuesday for the review of this week's chapter of One Piece. Bye bye.